back at it again, and we have another one with Dinesh. Let's dive in.
So tonight you have presented the Republican Party as advocating on behalf of individual liberties, even if that means deregulation so that there could be a smaller government and essentially people can have more freedoms, personal freedoms. Despite the fact that that might undermine the Clean Water Act and lead companies to pollute the waters with toxic waste with no repercussions. However, my question to you is, how can you explain the deregulation that the Republican Party supports for smaller government and simultaneously the hundreds, if not thousands, of bills passed by Republican officials since 2011 that have policed the woman's body and limited female access to contraceptives and to abortion?
Ooh.
All right.
Ooh.
Somewhat like the mosquito in the nudist colony, I'm trying to figure out where to begin. Well, all right. So
That's a good one. I've never heard that before. Like a mosquito in a nudist colony. I don't even know where to start with this one. That's a good one. Never heard that one before. That's a first. Okay. All right. Dinesh.
Well,
I respect it.
so I'll say a very quick word about abortion, a very quick word about deregulation. Abortion first. We talk about birth control and abortion. Let's set aside for one moment the debate about whether or not abortion is a constitutional right. I would submit that it is not. You can read the Constitution, squeeze lemon juice on it, hold it upside down. It's just not in there. But let's assume it was. Let's assume it was sort of invisibly there as part of the Bill of Rights. Right up there with free speech and right up there with the right to religion and the right to assembly and so on. Here's my question to you. Why should the abortion right be subsidized when none of our other fundamental rights are? I mean, you have a right to free speech. Does the government give you money to start a newspaper? You have a Second Amendment right to own a gun. Is the government going to buy you a shotgun?
Hey, Joe. You know one great thing you could do? Provide us all with some shotguns. Because wasn't there a video that where Joe Biden said something about owning a shotgun or something? It was something I think it was something that was like crazier. What was it? I believe it was Joe, though. He said something about shooting with a shotgun or something. So, hey, that could be a great idea. Government could buy us all shotties? Not really a great idea. That'd be a lot of money. That'd be really, really expensive. Extremely expensive. But anyway.
You have a right to free assembly. You got to do it on your own time. You have a right to free exercise of religion. The government's not going to pay for your churches. So since the government pays for none of our other fundamental rights, why does this right get to be in a category of itself? That's my point number one. Pivoting to point number two. No corporation that pollutes the water should be allowed to do that because that is an actual infringement upon the common good. In other words, that is actually doing harm to the public. This is completely different from the real point of deregulation. The real point of deregulation is to create a scope in which individuals can transact freely. Now, let me give you an example of what I mean. We have a right to health care, and presumably we have an equivalent right to food, right? To eat. What could be more basic than the right to food? Now, let's assume that the government establishes not Obamacare, because that's health care, but an Obama right to food. And the basic idea here is that when you go to the grocery store, you can get food and somebody else will pay. So you walk into the grocery store, you fill up your cart. I would submit, first of all, that you will excessively fill up your cart because you're not paying. And you're going to show up at the counter, at which point the woman behind the counter will notice that not only have you excessively filled up your cart, but since you're not paying, you don't care what the prices are. And so suddenly milk will start costing $45 because some third guy is actually going to be footing the bill. Now, I would submit that this is in a nutshell what's wrong with our healthcare system. That whenever you go to the doctor, the reason that it costs $3,000 when you have a cold is not because it actually costs $3,000. If you were paying, they'd bill you $75. But since you're not paying, and the insurance company is paying, and the government is paying them, the doctor realizes, I'm going to run 45 tests. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's all going to be money in my pocket. It's going to be money for the hospital. And this poor dude isn't the worst off. So most of the time when we go to the doctor, we don't even ask what it's going to cost because we don't care because some third guy is paying.
True.
So the
True.
argument for deregulation is to try to create a healthcare system where people do have healthcare protections, but in which costs are kept down because the guy who's receiving the service is actually paying for it. Let me just throw out a wild idea. If the government were to say to you, everybody in this country has catastrophic health insurance from now on. In other words, if you have a heart attack, you have some catastrophic illness, it's covered. But for routine healthcare, right, everyone who is under a certain income bracket, we're going to give you a $5,000 check. Right? You're free to spend that money on healthcare, and if you don't use it, you can keep what you don't spend. I assure you that this will send a shockwave through the whole healthcare system. It changes the whole set of incentives because suddenly the money is your money. No third guy is paying. Now remember, you're covered for catastrophic, which is actually quite inexpensive because catastrophic events are rare. What actually drives our healthcare costs up is routine healthcare. And that's why Obamacare is so expensive, is it covers routine healthcare, which people should pay for.
So in terms of healthcare costs, yeah, that stuff is astronomical. It is through the roof. And yeah, like you said, if people were having to pay out of their own pockets, I definitely think it'd be a different story. The reason why it is so high, I think he was spot on. It's because the normal consumer on average doesn't have to bear the full brunt of that cost. Somebody else is bearing the full brunt of that cost. And we're just having to pay, a small portion, via health insurance and, our deductibles and whatnot and that sort of thing. So we don't actually get hit with that high number. It's somebody else. It's the government. It's, the health insurance companies that's really see these big bills. Now, obviously, there are different situations and circumstances that, are outliers in that equation. But yeah, if we brought it back to actually having people pay, I think these healthcare systems would have to lower costs because people would start seeing, or more people would start seeing these astronomical bills and say, this ain't it, and a lot of people would be absolutely outraged and they would be marching in the streets once again, of course. I think that would change the healthcare system for the good in lowering costs. Because like you said, it is astronomical. These numbers are through the roof and crazy. And do hospitals even post what their costs are? I don't think they do. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Y'all can let me know in the comment section. Hey, this procedure is going to cost this, or that procedure is going to cost that, or, 1 day stay here is going to cost this. Do hospitals have that posted anywhere? Could you go to, a website where all that's posted? I've never honestly looked or checked, but yeah, y'all can let me know in the comment section. Yeah, it's crazy how she also put contraceptive and abortion in the same sentence. It was almost as if she was trying to say that's a form of contraceptive, but I don't know. It was a little weird when she said that. I caught that when I was listening. It was a little wait, did she really just... Nah, she didn't say that. She didn't say that. Kind of in denial type of situation. Personal responsibility, I think, is a better thing to talk about when we talk about, women having abortions. How about personal responsibility? How about having safe sex or not having sex at all, or making sure the person you are having sex with is someone you want to be with long term? You know what I mean? Personal responsibility. But hey, what do I know? Y'all let me know what you thought about all of this in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.